Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3389. Today's date is 13th of April 2025. It's been almost like a morning. Yeah, probably it's a morning at 12:03 a.m. All right. It's not actually morning. It's midnight. Like I shouldn't supposed to be. It's a morning. Yeah, it's like but still, next day it counts. So yeah, probably whatever. Should we jump into the question? Well, yeah, let's go. Let's directly jump into the question. All right, yeah. Question is, if I were my own customer, what would I criticize about my business? Okay, that's a really good question. Okay. So let's just understand this kind of like a assembly question regarding about my business, also regarding about my content creation. Okay, yeah. How? Okay, let's go through that. First, content creation. Okay, so I am a content creator. Okay, I am kind of like we create the content, upload those content on YouTube and Instagram platform. All right, yeah. My genre is that I usually make content regarding about graphic designing, Photoshop, photography. These are my kind of like assembly subject, and I create the content regarding about that. All right, yeah. Now I am the content creator. Okay, yeah, and other people are kind of like a consuming my content. Okay, yeah. So I am putting myself as a kind of like a some consumer. Okay, yeah, means like that I found my content. Okay, yeah, but as a kind of like somebody has a different perspective, means like I don't really know who is that person, nothing really at all, and I'm just kind of like somebody judge the content regarding about what is actually content and things like that. Okay, yeah. So how would I supposed to judge and how would I supposed to? All right, yeah. Okay, so first of all is that, as I mentioned earlier, I create the content regarding about the graphic designing, Photoshop, photography, mostly graphic designing. Okay, yeah. Now I should supposed to be criticize my content. How do I supposed to criticize and how what kind of like some of the stuff that I found? Did I actually did that? Like did I kind of like somebody judge my content regarding about a third point of perspective? Yes, I did it. Did I criticize? Yes, I did criticize. What are the criticism? First of all is that in my graphic designing, I only use three colors. Okay, yeah. Red, white, black. Mostly, yeah. Associate almost like a 90% of my all my graphic designing. Three colors I only use. Okay, yeah. My as a kind of like a something consumer, my biggest criticism regarding about colors, why this content creator is not using multiple colors or other colors, why he was just using three colors, why? Okay, for so I'm just giving the kind of like assembly answer from content creator point of perspective. All right, yeah. So why I choose three colors? First of all is that my content is about kind of like a something educating, kind of like a something like that informative inspiration, something that ki a danger, something that kind of like a something associate with kind of like a something wrong thing happened. Okay, and I'm kind of like a pointing out that wrong thing. Okay, regarding about tax, regarding about criticism, regarding about perfectionist, regarding about self-doubt, confidence, regarding about yeah, like regarding like basically I'm like my content is filled with all those kind of like perspective or equality, everything. I kind of like somebody had that particular subject or like topic, and I kind of like create that particular design. Okay, yeah. Okay, so basically is this thing. Then why I choose only three color? First of all, is that he red is this color is mostly associate with a danger, associate with a kind of like a wrong, associate with a kind of like a something that ki you should supposed to be focused. Okay, yeah. And you actually seen the red color multiple times, like a stop sign, stop sign. There are multiple signs regarding about red color. Okay, yeah. It represent danger, And yeah, my content is about little bit of something really danger, little bit of kind of like a something wrong, little bit of kind of like a something that, yeah. As also another thing is that ki why I choose only red color is because of that red color our humans are could kind of like a something resonate, and it could kind of like a something just it not mellow, it's a kind of like a something contrast, and it's kind of like a something dark, and it's I don't know what's actually in red color, but it's kind of like a something that ki we seen that color very quickly, but it's not actually, it's might be a kind of like a something wrong because of that ki orange is a kind of like a something color that so vividly, okay, yeah. But I didn't use orange. I know orange is a kind of like a something color that kind of like a something look like kind of like a something seen very visible, but I choose to be red because I don't know, sometimes like a basically is this thing red is a kind of like a something color that it resonate with my content, okay, yeah. So that's why I choose red color, okay, yeah. And black and white are the complementary color, means like that ki I am kind of like using red, black and white for kind of like a create shadows and highlight for that thing, okay, yeah. I choose multiple color too, okay, yeah, but I choose not to because of that key. I also kind of like a something creating a minimalistic graphic designing, which has kind of like a nothing like that much, okay, yeah. So when I choose a minimalistic with kind of like a something such a particular topic, then I choose to be kind of like a something spec three spectrum color, red, white, black, and create that particular design, okay, yeah. So this is the first criticism, and I saw that criticism, okay, yeah. Now another criticism is about that ki what is actually my another criticism is like a like basically there is a kind of like a somebody guy who actually mentioned that ki your content is really good, okay, yeah, but there is a wrong thing is in kind of like a somebody designing, okay, yeah. um okay, so what is exactly that, okay, so first of all is that na ki okay, let me tell you one thing na. Now I'm kind of like a something say that ki create a particular design regarding about that ki Apple phone is kind of like a so expensive, but still people are buying that Apple phone, just they want to, even if they can't afford this they want to, and they did buy, okay. And that burden of kind of like a something interest and tax pay and EMI, it kind of like a killing them, but still they want to buy, okay, yeah. And this is kind of like a reality fact in India, because everyone are buying kind of like a iPhone, because iPhone represent kind of like a some status standard and things like that. So how would I supposed to kind of like a visualize this thing, okay. Like basically my job is to kind of like visualize that particular entire situation in graphics designing, okay, yeah. So when I visualize that na ki um in particular visualization I won't be able to kind of like create that particular exact design, okay, yeah, that I want to. Because let me tell you one thing now ki uh what exactly happened that ki when I kind of like create such a particular design, I tried so many stuff. Like in my book, I have a rough book. I try how do I supposed to visualize this thing, this and that and that and that. I do kind of like somebody take inspiration from the Pinterest and memes and stuff like that. That how do I supposed to do that thing? Okay, yeah. And when I get particular idea and stuff like that, I draw with my hand, bare hand, with the sketchbook, and kind of like a figure it out how it kind of like a somebody look that. Okay, yeah. Then I took the photo and edit the photo in this thing. This process, like the stuff that I mentioned, it's kind of like a something happened within an hour, literally within an hour, okay, yeah. Why? Because of that ki I have to upload 2 posts every single day. So and usually is this thing, the editing, the designing and everything takes almost like a 4 hour to kind of like a create the reel, create the design and things like that for rest of the things, okay, yeah. So I have very less time to kind of like simply visualize, okay, yeah. And as also some of the concepts are so difficult to visualize that I don't know how to supposed to express, okay, yeah. And that in that particular situation now my designing is feel little bit of something really off, okay, yeah. how do I supposed to improve that? How do I supposed to kind of like something improve that design? Well, probably is this thing na ki if I wanted to improve that design, I should supposed to be spend time. Okay, yeah, and kind of like something specialize that thing. That is really good, but I don't want to break the consistency. I wanted to upload two posts every single day, so this is kind of like a stuff I should supposed to do. Then another reason, like another stuff that I could do is that ki I could kind of like a sit for longer hours. Okay, yeah. Then also it kind of like a simply hampered, like a basically creativity comes from the freedom. And if I kind of like a simply trap myself to create the free create like a create the creativity, then this will not gonna happen. Okay, yeah. I have to let my mind flow and stuff like that. For that mind, I have to be little bit of free, something like that. So what is actually my best approach is that key I have to do it. Okay. Even if the design is not really that much kind of like a something top notch, but still I have to execute. Okay, yeah. And basically, if I'm kind of like a continue doing this thing, I would kind of like a simply experience regarding about the design, regarding about visualization and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. Because like let me tell you one thing, na, ki this is kind of like a some genre that does like most of the 90% of this kind of like a some genre depend on visualization. Like how do you supposed to visualize and tell your message through one graphic designing? This is kind of like a something very, it's not that difficult, but it's not that easy too. Okay, yeah. And as also is this saying, you will get experience, like you will get expert like till you try again and again and just figure it out multiple subjects and multiple topics and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. So my second criticism regarding about design, that my design is doesn't feel really top notch. This is the reason that ki kind of like I have little less time. And basically is this thing, respect to the time, I will improve my design. Okay, I will definitely gonna improve my design. Okay, this is the second criticism. Third criticism is that ki why are you not using AI? Yeah, like most of people are kind of like a comment in my post is that ki like you could create this particular design in artificial intelligence, like in chat gpt, like you could create this design, so why are you not creating this design in artificial intelligence? Well, I try, and AI is kind of like a something that won't able to make that particular design, literally won't able to make that design. Example, okay, yeah, you have like a one of the most expensive artificial intelligence model that you have. Okay, yeah, let's say is that ki you have chat gpt very advanced version. Okay, yeah. Now what should you supposed to do is that ki create a particular image where a guy who is writing from left hand. Yeah, like literally simple prompt. Type this image that key, create a such image where guy or any kind of like a person who is kind of like a writing from the left hand. 99% of the image is created by the guy who's actually writing his stuff from the right hand, not left hand. Like I don't know, you put any prompt, like so much prompt, like a left, it will not gonna make that thing, or it will make, but that image doesn't really look that real. It's something that doesn't really write. And this is what kind of like is really wrong with the AI models. Let me tell you one thing, how the AI models work. Okay, yeah. So AI model generation is work on the basis of whatever the existence that we have. Existence means like that whatever the image that we have, like a trillions of images we have regarding about every subject, it combine all those images, understand, study about that, and then it kind of like simply create the particular image. Now regarding about the artificial intelligence, almost like a 99% of the image that ChatGPT has regarding about the guy who is writing a kind of like a something from right hand, because almost like in entire world 90% of the people are righty person. They wrote some sort of thing from right hand, not from left hand. Only 10% of the people who are kind of like a lefty, they wrote things from the left hand, and the data that they have is very less. So that's why ChatGPT won't be able to create particular design regarding about the guy who is writing from the left hand. Okay, if you wanted to do this thing, just welcome and you just have to do that. Okay, and this is just a simple prompt. Literally, it's just a simple prompt. Okay, yeah. Now, if I'm gonna say create the particular art piece regarding about the iPhone, which is kind of like a something so expensive, but still people are kind of like a somebody wanted to buy. Now, what kind of like a somebody art piece will he created, and how does kind of like a somebody resonate with the people? Because my art piece should supposed to be connect with the people. It kind of like a somebody tell the kind of like a somebody message instantly within a second. Just look at the image and wow. Okay, yeah, this is what kind of like some image that I wanted to create, and this will not gonna happen because there are a lot of burdens, lot of things. Because in my graphic designing, realism is not exist. Okay, yeah, because sometimes I fly, sometimes I kind of like a something drown, sometimes I kind of like a something lifting a such a weight where is kind of like a something so much heavy. So there are a lot of things in graphic designing. I'm actually kind of like a somebody bending lot of kind of like a somebody rules and stuff like that for creating particular art piece would kind of like a telling some sort of message. Okay, yeah, but in artificial intelligence they can't. They literally can't. They just can't. Okay, like they could kind of like somebody make the really perfect design, really perfect art piece, like one of the best, but they won't be able to break the kind of like a something such a thing where like a bending the rules and stuff like that. They won't. Even if you put so much prompt work, it will not. Literally not. Yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing. I did try. Like, let me tell you one thing. I did try. Like, literally, what I did is that I create my design. Okay, yeah, create my design, and I kind of like a something upload that design on ChatGPT, and kind of like a say that key improve this design, improve this kind of like a some particular design, kind of like a make this add a texture, contrast, and stuff like that. It kind of like is going to disturb the entire image, literally entire image, and I'm giving the very ready-made image. Like everything is actually set up. You just have to enhance the things. It's not going to enhancing very much properly. So this is what kind of like a something artificial intelligence is actually facing this thing. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing. Yeah, there are so many kind of like some images that you could generate from the artificial intelligence, and that is really good images. Like you could generate very good quality of images from the chat gpt, but you could create the such a images where the such image are already exist. You won't be able to create a such a image where such a graphics or such a thing where is not exist. So this is what it is, and my designs are kind of like a such a thing where these graphics are not exist. Okay, so that's why. And as also is this thing, I am kind of like a something like a basically early mover advantage in this genre, because like I found that there is no one is actually creating a content regarding about this particular design, this particular kind. Like there are so many people are kind of like doing the photoshop tutorial and stuff like that, but like kind of like a something telling a kind of like a message with one graphic designing, which is kind of like a something very less people. Yeah, literally very less people. So yeah, I'm kind of like a early mover in this thing. So yeah, so most of people are kind of like I say that ki, why are you not using your AI to create the image? This is kind of like somebody answer that it is not. Okay, yeah. Okay, now another criticism. What kind of like some another criticism that I get? Like these are kind of like a mostly very popular criticism. Then another criticism is that I don't really get that much criticism, but this is kind of like a something I would judge my content if I'm kind of like being a consumer, and then this might be a kind of like a something I criticize myself, but I already mentioned regarding about that stuff. Okay, yeah, it's not a criticism, it's a kind of like a something that a solution that why I cannot do and stuff like that. All right, yeah. So this is a kind of like a something criticize my content regarding about a customer point of perspective. All right, yeah. Now I have to criticize my business according to the customer point of perspective. First of all, what is exactly my business? Okay, okay. So as I mentioned, I am a content creator right now, but I wanted to be establish my business. Okay, yeah. So basically, is this thing that if I wanted to establish my business, then what is that business? First of all, Well, okay. The stuff that you are actually hearing is called artifact episode. Now, what is actually the artifact episode? Okay, artifact episode is a kind of like a something a diary, a kind of like a something audio diary. It's a kind of like a something the people who wrote the diary every night. Okay, yeah. I'm just converted diary, like I'm just converted writing into recording. Okay, yeah. Like basically I kind of like a somebody start record about stuff is actually happened and stuff and stuff and stuff and stuff. Okay, yeah, this is called kind of like a artifact. I am doing this thing since 2015 and I'm doing this thing every single day. All right, yeah. And I have almost like a decade of experience regarding about this artifact. Last year I kind of like had some sort of thought that key, what if I kind of like somebody create a particular app where kind of like a people will record their artifact, yeah, their artifact, like their thoughts and things like that, and they could share to the public. Yeah, that is a really good thing, because we also want that people should supposed to be know our thoughts and stuff like that. But that is a catch. There is a one thing, that catch is that key, we have to make sure that your identity shouldn't supposed to be revealed, means like that your handle should supposed to be kind of like a rename at something else, that your privacy should supposed to be taking care of that. Because let me tell you one thing now, the stuff that you mention in here, probably those are personal and things like that. And as also is this thing, it is kind of like a something very easy for you to kind of like a something not to say your name and telling your story, because when you say that, you kind of like a feel little bit of light. Okay, feel little bit of relax, feel little bit of kind of like a somebody that ki you express something. Okay, yeah, that is kind of like a being up to you. Okay, yeah. And basically this thing, you shouldn't supposed to be tell your name, where is this happened, what kind of like a person that you are in it. No, just tell your story. Okay, yeah. And basically this thing, I have to be take care, like my app should supposed to be take care of that your privacy and stuff like that. All right, so this is kind of like a something my app. Okay, yeah. Now basically is this thing, I haven't really made my app. Okay, yeah. I haven't really kind of like a something that key, like start nothing really at all. It just like basically is this thing now, I'm kind of like a somebody just figure it out that how do I supposed to do that and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. But like someday I will definitely gonna make this app. Okay, yeah. So I should supposed to be criticize my app as a kind of like a customer point of perspective. So how do I supposed to criticize, and what kind of like some loophole kind of like a problem that I found? Okay, yeah, there are a lot of problems are here. Okay, first of all is that key, this is kind of like a something that it's a very new thing. Okay, yeah, it's a kind of like a social media, like basically you are actually sharing your things, but instead of sharing your photos, videos and post, no, you are sharing your thoughts. Okay, yeah, you are sharing your thoughts. Okay, yeah. So what is exactly the criticize, like how do I supposed to criticize? First of all is that key, will my privacy will be secured? Example, that key, I'm recording my artifact. Okay, yeah. And accidentally I mention some sort of name. Okay, example, that key, I been through kind of like a something breakup. Okay, I had a breakup. Okay, and when I kind of like simply telling the story, I kind of like a simply spur the moment, I just tell my name, tell who am I be with and things and stuff like that. Like I tell kind of like a simply stuff. Okay, yeah. So how does kind of like a something my app will kind of like a something taking care of my privacy? Because I did that. Okay, I accidentally kind of like something share that thing, because yeah, like a when you are kind of like a telling your story, you are kind of like a something, most likely you will share your name and stuff like that. So how this my app will kind of like a something figure this out regarding about the privacy? Well, first of all is that ki my app will AI driven app. Okay, so what's the AI driven app? Means like that ki, like whatever the kind of like a stuff that you record. Okay, before it went to the publish, before it went to publish to the internet, it kind of like a simply go through multiple stages. First stage is that ki whatever the stuff that you speak in your artifact, AI will kind of like a something or kind of like a listen the entire artifact. Yeah, literally listen the entire artifact, and it kind of like a listen very fraction of the second, because yeah, like I will gonna use very powerfully and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. So it will listen the entire artifact in it, kind of like it will understand you. Okay, yeah. Now another thing is that key, it will kind of like a simply figure it out which one is noun. Okay, what is a noun? A noun means like that a name. Okay, my name is a Saurabh Authare. Saurabh Authare is my name. I've been with this girl. This girl, like basically, if I particular put the name, this is kind of like something noun. I am belong to this place. This place means access place is also kind of like a something noun. Okay, yeah. So basically, is this thing what is exactly noun? Like I shouldn't supposed to be express this thing. What is exactly noun? Noun is a kind of like a something a particular name. Okay, yeah. Now AI would kind of like a simply figure it out that ki where did you kind of like a put that name. Okay, put that name in the artifact. Example is this thing, at 30 minutes 43 seconds you mention your name, and basically what is actually is this thing, that key the AI will kind of like a giving the option that do you want to beep this sound, or do you want to cut it down, or basically what is actually is this thing. Okay, so what you have an option that key do you want to cut it down or stuff like that. Okay, yeah. Basically it kind of like a giving this thing, they be giving a kind of like a something that key we found kind of like a something privacy concern problem in your artifact, and we wanted to remove, we really required a permission that we are kind of like a beeping the noun and things like that, and you put the s and it kind of like add the beep when you kind of like said some sort of words and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. So in this particular process I would kind of like a something be free, and like a basically is this thing that your privacy as a customer point of perspective, their privacy should supposed to be remain private. Okay, yeah, you would share your details, but your name and everything should supposed to be private. Okay, good thing. Another, that I am a kind of like a only person that I am public figure. Okay, yeah. I love your app. I love wanting to share my story and stuff like that. But basically is this thing na ki I am a public figure, and even if I'm not kind of like showing my face and it's not any visual thing, but still people will recognize with my voice. Okay, yeah. So how do I supposed to figure it out? Well, this is also kind of like an option that we have. My app will have kind of like something like that key app. Sorry, voice changer means like that it would change your voice, change your pitch, change your kind of like a something stuff. It kind of like a simply change your voice completely. Okay, yeah. And people will might not know anything regarding about who you are in your public things and stuff like that. Nothing really at all. Okay, yeah. And it's not really that kind of like a something crazy. Probably just like it's not even use any kind of like a something AI. Just like basically you just have to pitch the everything and stuff like that, and your voice is completely changed. Okay, yeah. Okay, another criticism is regarding about that key, keyboard is actually that right now I haven't really made that much app. So basically is this thing that key, how do I supposed to criticize, dude? Yeah, like you are doing this artifact for almost like a past 10 year na. So what kind of like a something that like you should supposed to be like you are hearing this artifact, and what kind of like a something stuff that you wanted to say, like you have to criticize na your artifact, like you are actually recording this thing for almost like a 10 year. So okay, there is might be a kind of like a something a problem. Okay, yeah. And I don't know how do I supposed to fix that. Okay, yeah. Is it a criticism? It's somewhat criticism, but it's kind of like some problem. Okay, yeah. What is that? Okay, yeah. I don't really have this solution right now, but I will figure it out. What is the problem? Just tell me. Okay, yeah. So purpose of this artifact is kind of like a something, share your stuff, share your thing, whatever kind of like a something stuff that inside of you or whatever it is, you just have to share. Put your mobile phone, turn on the recorder, and kind of like a start talking about stuff and stuff like just say today's my artifact episode number 63, today's date is this, it's been almost like a 8:53 a.m. Okay, yeah. Now you have started talking about stuff like what exactly happened, this and that and that and that and that and that. Okay, yeah. Basically this thing, artifact episode is kind of like assembly telling your personal, professional, whatever, your life. Okay, literally, just like it's a reflection of your life every day. What is the actually stuff that you do? Now, example is this thing at one day, okay, yeah, you kind of like a simply you wanted to share your sexual experience. Okay, yeah, means like that ki like basically you are at the age of 23, okay, yeah, and you first time you had a sex with someone else, okay, yeah. Now you wanted to share that moment, like how these things actually happened, how do you kind of like actually talk with that girl and stuff like that, and how do you proceed with this thing, like a literally from the penetration, like basically you first time you are doing this thing, nah, like there are a lot of kind of like some this stuff, because in the porn you are not kind of like actually showing everything, but when the kind of like when you had a first time had a sex, there are a lot of things actually happen, like how do you kind of like something naked in front of you, how does your body connect with each other, how does kind of like a something feel kissing, how does kind of like a something do lot of stuff, okay, yeah. And you wanted to kind of like express this thing because we are human and we need to express this thing because yeah, we love to express such stuff, okay, yeah. It's a sexual stuff, okay, yeah. So you are kind of like expressing this thing, okay, yeah. Now you express that stuff, okay, with all the privacy and stuff like that, like a basically you like all the names and things are not kind of like a something, no, like privacy is good, okay, yeah. Now what is actually happened, you upload that particular artifact, and then that artifact went viral, okay, yeah. It get almost like a millions of views or millions of people are listening this artifact, okay, that your sexual experience and stuff like that. People are kind of like a something that ki they also have their sexual stuff, they also have kind of like a something that sexual story, like they actually experience this thing and they also wanted to share that thing. So when this guy is actually sharing his personal sexual experience, other people will do the same thing, okay, yeah, like following the trend and things like that, because in mostly Instagram people are kind of like following the trends, and this will also be happen, like this guy is actually sharing the sexual experience, other people are actually sharing the sexual experience, okay, yeah. So I think now this is kind of like a simply bad consequences. What is actually the bad consequences? Okay, like basically let me tell you one thing now. I have been recording this artifact for past 10 years, okay, yeah. And artifact, this thing is kind of like a shape entire thought process, what I was thinking, what I want, what is actually my purpose of my life, everything. Like artifact is kind of like a nurturing me and stuff like that, okay, yeah. It is really good in really like if I'm taking artifact in really good way, definitely it gives me lot of kind of like benefit and stuff like that. But when you take it in bad, it's kind of like something really bad. Example, okay, yeah. I did kind of like a record my sexual experience, what is actually happened, like I like a something like that in previous artifact I did mention, okay, yeah. It's a kind of like a something human experience, it's a human expression that we share, and I share that thing, okay, yeah. And so on, if I make this app, people will also gonna share that thing, okay, yeah. Now I'm gonna ask this thing, that when that trend will kind of like some people will take advantage of it, what's the advantage, okay, yeah. Okay, so let me tell you one thing, we are humans, okay. Artifact episode, this app is belong for the human, yeah. Like basically there is no kind of like somebody, a monkey or tiger will gonna use this app, no, humans will gonna use this app, okay, yeah. Another thing is that we are humans, and we are kind of like a something, a species where we are so much connected to the sexual stuff. What do you mean by that? Like basically we all always have interest to kind of like a somebody talk about sexual, talk about doing it we always have kind of like a something, like whoever the person you are, girl, boy, what kind of like somebody age you have, sex is a kind of like a somebody subject that everyone is attract, everyone wants to know this and that and that and that and that and that, okay, so when everyone is attract, everyone is kind of like talking about the sexual stuff and things like that, it will went viral, okay, yeah. It will went kind of like a, then so many artifact went really viral, everyone is kind of like listening this thing, stuff like that, okay, yeah. Now example is this thing that the first guy that I mentioned, he was kind of like a mentioning about the sexual experience, and he's artifact went really viral. Okay, yeah. Now is this thing, he decided that what if I record artifact another sexual experience. Okay, yeah, but I have to lie. Okay, yeah, means like that na ki I like basically no one is actually kind of like asking me evidence that did you sex or not. No, I just have to lie in artifact na, like I should supposed to be lie in artifact and just say that ki I hooked up with this girl and this happened and this happened and this happened. Okay, and he did it again. He did it again. He kind of like a lie, and he kind of like a say this thing and stuff like that. Also, that artifact went really viral too. Okay, yeah. Now he can understand that ki, oh, this is really good. Like my artifact went really viral. So let me talk about the sexual stuff. Now he was like every day he was kind of like a lie to himself and talking about stuff and stuff like that. What is exactly the problem? When you lie in the artifact, you are not lie with your artifact. Artifact is just a tool. It's a kind of like a connect with yourself. Like there is no one is actually hearing. You are lying with yourself, dude. Okay, when you lie with yourself, your confidence went down. Your kind of like a somebody creativity went down. Your kind of like a somebody approach, like a taking risk for that is also went down. Like you have a kind of like a find a easy way to kind of like a somebody say this thing. Just lie, and you are just lying about this and that and that and that, and that is really a bad, like literally, like as I mentioned earlier, if you have a kind of like somebody knife, you could decide, sorry, if you have a kind of like somebody pen, that you could decide that you could draw a beautiful picture or you could stab someone and kill someone. So basically that kind of like a pen that you have, that you could kind of like make the world as beautiful as you can, and you could make the worst as you can. Artifact is that tool. Literally is that tool. Like basically is this thing, if you utilize your artifact in really good way, as really good as possible as you can, it can benefit you so much, so much. Like literally it could kind of like a change your personality, change your thought process. Like basically how the fuck, like literally like a 10 year ago I was kind of like a very fuck person. Right now I'm kind of like a thinking like this, like a kind of like a some very matured way, kind of like a somebody from every point of perspective and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. And this is all those things actually happen is because of the artifact. Okay, yeah. So literally I'm kind of like experiencing the advantage of getting the like a kind of like artifact and stuff like that. But if I lie, if I kind of like somebody stay, if I'm kind of like somebody saying some sort of bad stuff and lies to myself and stuff like that, then it will lose my confidence. It will kind of like a destroy me. Okay, literally it will kind of like destroy me. So this is kind of like a somebody problem that I should supposed to be. I'm not really sure any kind of like a somebody problem. Like I'm not like I don't really see any kind of like somebody solution for this kind of like a somebody problem. Okay, yeah. Like there are so many solutions, by the way. Like basically this thing, I like basically, you know, at the first time, why does people are kind of like actually talking about the sexual stuff is because of the video get viral, na? Okay, yeah, the artifact went really viral. So instead of that, I am not showing how many views or how many things that people will get and things like that. Okay, yeah. So basically, if they don't really know how much they views they did get, how that person will kind of like something will understand that artifact went really viral. But dude, now like I shouldn't supposed to be hide those analytics from the people who are recording the artifact. Why? Because at some certain point I should supposed to be show them. Okay, yeah, and they will kind of like figure it out and stuff like that. Yeah, like at the beginning now I shouldn't supposed to be kind of like giving the analytics status regarding about how many views and how many kind of like views that you get regarding about how many artifacts. No, like I don't know. Yeah, I'm not really sure how do I supposed to figure it out this thing, because I wanted to do kind of like something like that key, like analytics is a kind of like something very essential thing. Okay, yeah, like like why are you giving the analytics, dude? Like is it YouTube video? Like a YouTube video is a kind of like somebody giving the analytics and stuff like that, so that as a creator should supposed to be figured out what's wrong in this thing. Okay, yeah, Like, are you kind of like a somebody saying this thing that the people who will record the artifact, they will become called as a artifactor? No, I don't want that. I don't want that. Like, I don't want that ki people should supposed to be record the artifact, they are kind of like a somebody earning money through it. Because let me tell you one thing na, like the same thing happened, like if the people are actually earning money through it na, they will also kind of like a saying lie, they will kind of like a saying some sort of stuff that they didn't really happen, or it's something that na, there's like when you involve money into it, there is a lot of problem. When you involve views or kind of like a virality into it, there is also a problem too. And this is kind of like a some problem that I should supposed to figure it out, because there are so many people will kind of like utilize this platform for very very wrong reason, very very wrong reason. So I have to be figure it out this problem, that how do I supposed to figure it out this thing. Also there are a lot of stuff like people will talk about the religious hate speech, people will talk about the criticism, sorry, terrorism, people will kind of like spread the kind of like some sexual violence things and stuff like that. A lot of people will kind of like share a lot of stupid stuff. So basically the platform that I created for kind of like improving themselves and stuff like that, people will utilize this platform for very very wrong reason. And it impact a lot, very lot. Like let me tell you one thing now. Instagram, like Instagram is a social media app where people would also kind of like doing the same thing. Okay, yeah. But usually let me tell you one thing na, ki Instagram is kind of like a something app, is the app. Okay, yeah. And it does not connect with you that much. But when you record the artifact, it connect with you so much, literally so much. Yeah, like there is no screen on while in the app, but you actually connect. It's something that now it connect with your thought. And and basically is this thing, if you are kind of like listening some sort of sexual or any kind of like a some religious hate speech or something like that na, it impact on your thought process directly. Literally it just directly on your thought process, and it is spoil your thought process. Like basically what I'm trying to tell you is this thing na, ki there is a kind of like a something a phrase that you are the average of your surrounding. Okay, yeah. This is also kind of like a something possible, that if the person is actually consuming such an artifact where kind of like a promoting the hate speeches, sexual violence and stuff like that, that person also became that kind of like a some personality, and it resonate that personality into the real life too. He will kind of like something angry, doing the kind of like something violence thing around the surrounding and stuff like that. So this is kind of like some problem, that I created this artifact for kind of like some improving themselves, improving better version, but people will gonna utilize this thing for being really bad. Okay, yeah. And it is like a really bad, like literally bad. Okay, like if I'm started using artifact for very very wrong reason na, I would become very fucked up person. And I knew that this would gonna happen because it connect with your thought. So this is a kind of like a problem that I have right now. Okay, if the people will gonna misuse my app, then yeah, I have so many tools to like a shouldn't supposed to be viral or kind of like add some sort of censorship into it, but like it's a life, it comes with every situation. Okay, the reality that we are actually seeing is a far more different than others. And as also what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, how much do you censor? What exactly censor means? Like a nudity, like it's a audio, it's not any visual thing. Okay, yeah. So how do you supposed to censor? It's a, I don't know, yeah. But I have to be kind of like a figure it out that this shouldn't supposed to be happen. Like my artifact shouldn't supposed to be promote any kind of like a something religious hate speeches, terrorism, or kind of like a something sexual violence or anything or any stuff. I don't want to be kind of like a utilize my platform for all those things. And I will gonna kind of like a use all my powers, all my things to uh, make it as minimalistic as I can. I can't stop it because there are almost like 8 billion people, and there are so many people are so fucked up people too, and they will gonna use this app for very very wrong reason. I have to be make it as minimum as I can. Okay, like basically it's this thing, like I could use all those things that this shouldn't supposed to be happen as minimum as I could, and I will gonna do this. I'm not really sure what exactly the solution right now, but yeah, this might be a kind of like some problem and something like one of the biggest criticism that I should supposed to be figure it out. Okay, yeah. Okay. So this is kind of like a some criticism as a kind of from customer point of perspective. Still, there are a lot of criticism are there too regarding about app, regarding about business, regarding about the content creation too. So yeah. Also, I wanted to be a filmmaker. Okay, yeah, and I also wanted to be criticize my film as a kind of like something as a viewer point of perspective. So how do I do that? Well, like there are kind of like consequences, good consequences and bad consequences too. Okay, yeah, and I talk a lot regarding about everything. Okay, yeah, I don't know, but I will figure it out. Okay, regarding about film business or content creation, I will. Alright, yeah. So this is how I wear a customer, and this is how I criticize my business or content creation. Alright, this is it, and thank you.